Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co-host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast-producing badass.
I'm John Thomas. Some would say that I go a little too far with my love of all things horror, paranormal, and meta, but I say, talk nerdy to me, and I'm all yours.
I'm BJ Sewura, an aspiring paranormal musician who plays live for the dead because the living just doesn't want to hear me.
The Dead of Winter Horror Network and Nick King from the 508 Productions invite you to endure the most terrifying immersive experience in all of podcasting. Beneath the Red Umbrella, now available wherever you listen to podcasts. Beneath the Red Umbrella, when the snow falls, the killing season begins.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and all of our urban legend lovers out there? In today's episode, we'll be delving into the stuff of legends. Urban legends, that is. Joining us today is special returning guest, Shane Roberts. Fun fact, Shane has been on our show 15 times.
Wow.
Welcome back for your 16th appearance.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We just need an entire season of Shane.
You can call it Season of Shame.
He's the man, the legend, Shane.
Yeah, God.
Yes.
Now, Shane, welcome back. And how is, first off, I'm just going to go into off track right away. We're going on a tangential years.
Tangent.
So, how is the music production going?
Music production is going swimmingly. So I got a lot of projects lined up. I've been collaborating still with Shimmer Johnson. She's got some things in the works right now. We have so much has happened within the last, I would say, 5 days. It's kind of crazy to put it out there. My good friend John Preston, who I also play music with, he just signed to a record label. And we're going to be doing some stuff with them. And then he has a documentary in the works that I believe Tucker Tooley Entertainment, the same people that just made The Deliverance on Netflix, they're going to be shopping that around and selling it, hopefully making a documentary. And I am in for making the soundtrack, or at least a couple songs in the music for the documentary with the same person that did the what the hell is the call? I can't talk. So the theme song for Sons of Anarchy.
Ooh, well, that's exciting.
So the same guy who was the guitarist for Velvet Revolver, and he played side by side with Slash. So really good connections. It'll be really good resume builder for me. Just a really good opportunity to put my name into the film industry, which is essentially what I wanted to do. But everything's going good. Everything's going the way it should, and extremely slow, the way it always does in this industry. But I'm just going to be patient as possible and just keep, plugging away at my craft. So
Super proud of you. I've had the awesome opportunity to listen to snippets of the things you produce, and of course I'm like all over it, just oh my gosh, that's amazing, ooh, give me more. That sounds wrong, but you know what I meant.
yeah, I know what you mean. I'll always send you some because I do value your opinion, so I always try and send you some before we release it, and I like to hear what you think.
Yeah, he likes to get all my kudos and praises. I'm like, ooh.
Well, I think musically we're very similar.
We are actually, yeah. Yeah, especially was it called Lilith, or was it inspired by Lilith, the one that you had sent me?
It was inspired by Lilith. Yeah, it was inspired. Yeah.
I really liked that one. That had a really nice energy tone behind it, yeah.
I think it was Lie that you're talking about.
I'd have to go back to the messages to see, but it was good. I liked it. You definitely capture a lot of the tone that I resonate with in songs. So you're right. We are musically compatible in that aspect.
Oh,
This is why we're good friends.
That's
So, all right. So we're all here today to talk about urban legends, and I'm going to jump into that now that we've gone on our tangent. Who's got the first legend?
I can go. That's fine.
All right, let's do it.
So I'll start. So I think I mentioned in a previous podcast that I had gone to Scotland. And when I was there, I came across some pretty crazy urban legends. And I thought I'd talk about a couple, two or three. I have one in particular. And this is a place I actually did visit. And it's famous, the Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh, Scotland. This place, those of you that are Harry Potter fans, is where the J.K. Rowling, had the Lord Voldemort, found that on one of the tombstones, right? But this urban legend is about Sir George Mackenzie, and he's widely known to be the most aggressive poltergeist in Edinburgh. Basically, in the 17th century, he ruthlessly tortured members of the Scottish Covenanter movement or those who opposed King Charles I's religious reforms and clung to their Presbyterian faith, earning them the reputation of Bloody Mackenzie. So after his mausoleum was broken into by a homeless man, this happened in 1999. There have been hundreds of documented cases of people approaching his tomb, mysteriously collapsing or being cut and bruised. So, thus, it seems that Bloody Mackenzie lives on even after death. So I have pictures. I actually went there and that's where I did my paranormal investigation. I set up my audio equipment. I actually played my violin there, and
You play violin?
Badly, but yeah. I'm getting there. I'm learning. I play for the dead, so the living doesn't have to hear me.
Well put.
Yeah.
Except those that investigate with them. We're subject to it. I'm just kidding.
They could walk away. Like they could go get
The
a
sound
snack.
carries.
He's like, I'm trying to piss them off.
Right. Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But so I haven't gone through all the audio yet, but it is locked up. You can't get into this place. You can look inside a little bit, peek in there, but it's locked up for a reason. And yeah, we actually did hear some stuff inside there. Maybe it's rats, maybe it's something else. I don't know. But yeah, it's considered one of the most, I guess, biggest. You get a lot of activity there, I would say, in Edinburgh. So
did you notice anything while you were there?
what I noticed was it was cold, right? So it was really cold there at night. We went, and yeah, honestly, it just felt eerie. It didn't feel like dangerous though. Like I didn't have any my spidey sense wasn't going off. There were a ton of people in Edinburgh when I was there. So I feel like I got thrown off with the energy of just the people that were there. So, but I still have to go back and see it. But I didn't get any scratches or anything.
So question, what song did you play on the violin?
What song did I play? One, it was kind of like a Scottish Irish song.
If you say you take the high road and I'll take the low road.
No. But I did play. I didn't play the song on my violin. I just played the song. What was it? The Sound of Silence, but the disturbed version. And so that was cool. But it just felt right. Like I felt for whatever reason that song was, coming to me. But yeah, so that was my urban legend. And so the people that go there, they could get hurt. You got to be very, very careful.
So maybe you soothed the vengeful spirits there with your violin playing. So where they didn't want to scratch you, it was like, the laddie's good at the violin.
Well, the people that he tortured and killed are also in that same cemetery. So they're just like 100 feet away.
Oh, so either way you piss someone off, no matter what you do.
Yeah, unless they're all fans of the bad violin, and just want to have a good time together, which is probably not likely. But yeah, I didn't feel any kind of. But there's just a lot. There's a lot going on there, and yeah, it was fun.
Do you think the ghosts fight, like the ones that he tortured, come over to him and just taunt him and antagonize him because they're pissed of what he did to them?
It's a good question. They're gated. It's gated off. Like that. It's an entire big section of the cemetery it's gated off. You can't get back there. So maybe that's the, yeah. So I don't know. Again, it's just a lot of stuff that has happened there. They don't want to happen again. So they don't, tourists, it's a bad thing. It's bad for your reputation if people keep getting injured at these places. So
Well, tourists in general.
Or the gate is to draw them in because it's like, ooh,
Oh, yeah, maybe.
look, we're haunted and spooky. Hands off. And they're like, I want it.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know. I feel like the gating off and the keeping his thing locked, that's more for living people, not to keep him in or ghosts apart, because you can't lock a ghost in. With
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's just like, well, we locked it so he doesn't get out. Like, what?
It very well could be too for vandalism too.
That
If some of the people, some of the ancestors of the guys that he, hurt in the past, are still living, and maybe they don't really care that he has a mausoleum next to their ancestors, and maybe they want to, vandalize it or take a piss on it or whatever. I mean, I would, if somebody was, whatever. I won't get too political, but if somebody was a bad person and affected my family in such a way, and I'm a living ancestor, yeah, I'll probably, if I'm passing by, just let me go take a whiz on this mausoleum over here.
Is that where the word pisser came from? That guy's a pisser.
Maybe. Is it pisser or tosser?
I've heard both, but
Oh,
pisser
I've
is
heard
the one I'm
pisser.
thinking of. Yeah. Quite right, pisser. So we're going to go around the world. I've got one from Jamaica.
Ooh, I haven't heard a Jamaican urban legend before.
Yeah, and it's got its origins in Africa, but it's very prevalent in Jamaica. And
Haunted Bomba Clot.
Oh my God. So it originates in Africa, but now it's in the islands, especially in Jamaica, and it's the duppy. Have you guys ever heard of the duppies?
nope.
No.
So it comes from the Bantu religion, and it has a heavy focus on worshiping ancestors. So the duppies aren't inherently bad. A duppy is a spirit or a ghost that's generally a departed loved one, and they appear to you when you're in need of advice or cheering up, or sometimes they troll you. They're known to like scare you for fun. So inherently, duppies aren't the worst. They're not even that bad. But, however, there are living people called the Obeah, and they're practitioners of a dark spiritual craft. They can create evil duppies. So, evil duppies can actually hurt and or kill people if controlled by these Obeah. And the evil duppies can appear in the form of a departed person. So it's like tricky you, right? Like, here's your mom, but it's not actually your mom. And they can kill you or, hurt you or torment you, but they can also appear in the form of an animal, smoke, a shadow, or even a cold breeze. And evil duppies are known to take on larger, more sinister looking forms. However, depending on who's sending them to you, it can come in the form of a loved one, but it's not a loved one. And a lot of Jamaicans even now believe in the duppies and their existence. So they don't take chances when they come in contact with them, even if they could be your loved ones, because they just don't know, is this, am I being tricked? Or is this an actual loved one visiting me? So some of them say they see good duppies, but they only trust the duppies that they see in their dreams because they feel like good spirits can really only visit you in your dreams. External to that, if you encounter a duppy, they're like, nope, swerve and walk away.
Interesting. So it's more of an African influence
Yes.
with the Bantu. So I wonder if Rastafari, I believe it as well.
Good question.
The Duppy.
I do like that it sounds almost like a Goosebumps
Mm-hmm.
book, right?
Be a good, yeah, good chapter.
I think that would be awesome.
Curse of the Evil Duppy.
And they actually have a secondary urban legend called the Rolling Calf. And it's like a big, like, bull, but its eyes are on fire and it's got crazy ass teeth and, like, it's super scary. And a lot of people believe that the rolling calf is a form of an evil duppy. So they do have like almost a subgenre urban legend called the rolling calf. And she, I don't know, it has, it says red eyes, but then it also has fire coming from its eyes. It can breathe fire, and it has like sharp horns, and that's known to be, killer as well. And people do believe that the rolling calf is an evil duppy.
Sometimes if I don't drink enough water at night, I get the rolling calf as well. It's painful.
Oh yeah,
Well, I thought you were talking about like that running cramp, man.
the Charlie's horse.
The curse of the rolling calf. Ah.
Oh my God, that's funny. So yeah, and the rolling calf actually wears, I don't know why, but it has like a thick chain around its neck. And so when people are out strolling, if you hear like a rattle, like a chain rattle, they tell you just like get out of there because the rolling calf is probably nearby.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds super scary. So did you come across anything about, I feel like this would be something that tourists would fall victim to, right? Like, cause a lot of people go to Jamaica, right? So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like somebody comes in on their cruise and then they get off and, buy some weed or whatever that they're doing. And then do they,
So evil duppy feels more like, and duppies in general feels more like a religious kind of association, and so more of a cultural.
Like they'd be targeting other Jamaicans with it rather than tourists.
Yeah. Whereas the rolling calf, they say the rolling calf only comes after people who are dishonest, evil, and wicked. So to me, that feels more like a moral of the story kind of urban legend, which can apply to anybody, Jamaicans or tourists. But it still seems like that's geared towards the cultural, influence versus to warn tourists away. Because, like, be good or the rolling calf is going to come and impale you and set you on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sounds just like something my mom used to tell me.
Now, for some reason, part of the lore is that if you throw things on the ground, it distracts the duppies and the rolling calf because it's a version of a duppy because they're compelled to count. So I don't know why, but that's like part of the myth is they're compelled to count whatever is thrown in front of them.
Massive ADD.
Apparently. And so people are like, if you do come across a rolling calf and it's going to attack you, like throw shit out of your pocket because it'll stop to count.
That was made up so they could just harvest the change that people are throwing on the ground constantly.
Probably.
Like stupid tourists just throwing change all over the place.
So I thought that was kind of fun little addition to it. But I mean, you can see just even with all the little additional things that they add to the lore that it's been evolving over time. And I'm curious, 10 years from now, what will the duppy look like? Like, how does social media affect that, right? Like, are there new social media aspects where like the evil duppies can present through that? I don't know.
and do they travel, right? Are the duppies just staying in? Can they travel with the people that are from Jamaica? Is it something that you can find in Colorado? Like, can a duppy be here?
I mean, if it started in Africa, why not?
It was imported basically by the spirituality from the people that moved from Africa to Jamaica, and then I would probably say because a lot of spirits stay with the families that they inherently protect or are cursing, right?
I think it's just a name, another word for, spirits. And what's more interesting to me, at least, is that versus just spirits having, they're all duppies, you have a dark craft practitioner that is able to take spirits and turn them into almost like spiritual zombies, right? Like they're controlling them to hurt and kill those that they're sending them after. And that to me, I'm like, whoa, that takes it to a whole new level because, like, in all the things that we've studied and we've talked about, we've never really discussed spirits being controlled or controllable by humans, right?
Doesn't voodoo have some of that though? Or where they can maybe not control, but I guess harness the powers
Yeah.
of the spirit.
Well, they can be possessed by the spirits and use that to invoke their rituals and whatever spells that they're working on. Supposedly, I don't know, I'm not a voodoo practitioner, but they do work with the spirits to manifest whatever it is they're focused on. Whereas this seems like intentional, we're going to take a spirit and send it after with a purpose to hurt or kill. Or is it something they're creating? Can they create a spirit? Which would be an interesting thought. Can one create without having a human?
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty crazy.
I think that's called murder.
I said without a human.
Oh, without a human,
Yeah, I think that's scary. Like just having a human be able to have that power, right? Because, humans are capable of horrible things. And obviously, if the spirits can hurt you and kill you, then this is a really big step in the wrong direction, I guess, for connecting with spirits and all of that. But I love the name Duppy. Duppy is such a cute
It's very
name.
cute, like a little duppy, like a flounder.
Bubble Duppy.
Bubble duppy. Although the Obeahman, if you research a little bit more about them, they do have, kind of tying into what you were saying, Shane, they do have ties to Jamaican voodoo. So they are taking the practices of invoking spirits, but it sounds like versus invoking spirits' energy to manifest, rituals, they are using the spirits to attack people. So
Can you use the spirits to do good?
we had the guy, we had James come on and talk about Haitian voodoo. And I mean, they're using the spirits to do positive things, right? To heal, to manifest positive things in their lives. So, yes, I would say yes, but those aren't Obeahman. I'm pretty sure if we call James an Obeahman, he'd
Be upset.
have things to say to us. So, so Dark Wizard versus Light Wizard.
So what kind of wizard do you want to be?
I want duppies at my will.
A physically fit one.
Nice answer. That's also
One with a good booty.
Good
Oh my
booty
God.
with good duppies.
Good. One where my booty looks so good on a broom.
Oh, you fly on a broom now. I mean, we were talking about J.K. Rowling earlier, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, fun fact, did you know that the Obeah have been outlawed in Jamaica since 1760? So technically, they're not even supposed to be practicing. However, it still does exist, but it's more so it's isolated to more rural areas where they can kind of, practice it in private and get away with it.
That's interesting. So, I mean, they're very fearful. It's something that that was real or, has it's so deep in urban legend that it's real enough to them to where they would outlaw it.
Yeah, what's interesting is that current senators and within Jamaica, they actually are, some of them are trying to turn it over, which I find interesting. Like, why? I mean, I get it, separating out the, religious from the government potentially, but I don't know how Jamaica works in terms of if they do keep that separate. But a few of the congressmen there are trying to get rid of the Obeah Act. And one of them even had written, if people want to pay for someone to cast a spell or give them, some sort of help, that's their business, not ours. So who knows? Maybe it'll be turned over and we'll see a lot more Obeah.
It's just good business, right? It's just making that money. And I wonder if you could even, can anybody be this type of wizard, or is it strictly in their cultural, like you have to be from Jamaica, you have to be Jamaican, or like can anybody just come in and be like, hey, I want some duppies?
I want
And
some duppies. Well, I don't think duppies are their sole purpose. I think the Obeah just do curses, spells.
They're just bad people.
Well, I don't even know. Maybe there's good Obeah, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure. But ultimately, it's just another word because the Obeah practice what's similar to voodoo in Haiti, but they also can be kind of compared to those who practice Santeria in Latin America. So it's a person who's willing to do curses as well as, I'm assuming, positive spells. Because, most people that are considered white light practitioners in any of these different practices, they don't do curses. They won't do negatively toned, is that the word? Anything with a negative energy or negative intention craft, whereas it sounds like the Obey are like, I'll do it all, whatever.
The Abea, they're eating the pets of the people
Oh my God.
that live there.
The dog, hide your dogs,
They're
hide
eating
your
people's
cats.
Yeah, hide your duppies.
So, hide your duppies.
Hide your duppies.
I mean, I don't know what's more disturbing. If they can create negative spirits out of what? I don't know. But if they can create negative spirits, almost like what are those things called? They used to create monsters out of clay and like natural.
Golems?
Yes. Almost like a golem. Can they create negative spirits? Or are they taking over your loved ones?
Or maybe they're corrupting the present spirits that are there.
Yeah, in which case, I don't know. I think it's worse if they can corrupt spirits. Like, make a golem, man.
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that idea at all.
No.
I don't either. Like, don't you make my mama that? No, I'm just kidding. All right.
My grandma hate me.
Right? Oh, man. I mean, I already have some relatives that already do, so it probably wouldn't be too hard to convince them to go after me.
Have you guys ever been to the Stoll Cemetery?
Nope.
No.
I was reading up on because I pulled up a list of all the urban legends and stuff out there in the world, and I was kind of going down a list, and I saw the Legend of Stoll Cemetery, which is it's gained the reputation of being like the gateway to hell.
Ooh.
And I guess on the summer solstice, summer solstice, and during Halloween or Samhain, I guess the stairs to the church opened on the other side, and people soon said that the cemetery was the location of one of the 7 gates to hell, and that the nearby evangelical Emmanuel Church ruin was possessed by the devil. Others claimed, erroneously, that the legend was endangered by the killing of Stoll's mayor back in the 1850s. Of note, Stoll was never organized as a town, so never had a mayor. Oh, that's good news. It is also that during a trip to Colorado in the 1990s, the Pope redirected the flight path of his private plane to avoid flying over the unholy ground of Stoll. More on that to come. So you guys can move on. I'll read a little bit more on this, and I'll come back to it.
He's like, I'm reading the Google. Give me a moment.
Is this in Colorado? Is that what you said? Where is this?
It said it was in Kansas, but the Pope on a flight to Colorado redirected his flight so it didn't fly over that ground. There's no evidence of that actually happening, but that's what's being said.
This sounds so familiar. I feel like this may have come up in one of our research at some point, but because the redirect of the flight kind of reminded me of that. But I don't know. We should go. Let's go, guys.
Let's do it.
You should.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I'm down.
I want to find the gate or the stairs on the other side.
Stoll can't.
So would you? I wonder what time of day, or is it just like 24 hours? Gates.
I feel like 3 a.m. is probably your best bet.
Folks swear an old tree in the graveyard once served as gallows for condemned witches who return each year as Satan's army, but it is the cemetery that is most feared. for they say it is Beelzebub's gate. The voices of the dead will strangle you while evil spirits carve out your innards. They say that in the basement of the abandoned church in Stoll, Kansas, there is a staircase. And if you follow that staircase down, 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 you will reach the entrance to hell itself. And if you can crawl your way back up that ladder, escape from the bowels of hell to reach the surface, you will have to climb for weeks. That is, if the devil does not grab you first. They say on the night before Halloween, a woman in a white dress lures drivers to their death along the highway's edge, never to be seen again. Well, that was a side.
Lady in white. Off to
stairs forever and devil, and then lady in the white.
I like how it stairs down but ladder up.
Yeah. You'll have to climb for weeks.
So what's the draw? Like, why would we go down there?
I mean,
To see if
go
it
to
really
hell,
goes to
of
hell,
course.
duh.
Yeah.
I want to see a burning ring of fire. Come on. Down.
All right, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
So, in the years that followed the publication of the Universal Daily Kansas article, a legend persuaded thrill seekers to visit cemetery, and they would claim that weird and creepy events such as noises and memory lapses happened to them, leading to further speculation that the town was haunted by witches and the devil. It became a popular activity for young folks, especially high school and college students from Lawrence and Topeka, to journey to the cemetery on Halloween or the equinox to see the devil. Many would jump fences or otherwise sneak their way onto the property. Over the decades, as the number of people making excursions to the cemetery grew, the graveyard started to deteriorate. This was exacerbated by vandals. To combat this, the county sheriff office patrols the area around the cemetery, especially on Halloween, and will arrest people for trespassing. Those caught inside the cemetery after it closed could face a maximum fine of $1,000 and up to 6 months in jail.
6 months in hell. Sounds like an eternity. I'd rather pay the $1,000, honestly.
Isn't Kansas hell enough? Just saying.
Hey, I got family there. That's not cool.
Sorry to your family who lives in a very flat state. I apologize.
That's where his line is, by the way. All the shit we've said. And he's like, my line is, how dare you insult Kansas?
How dare you, sir?
Sorry, Dorothy.
Here's what
It's
I
a
don't
good
know.
day, sir.
Here's what sucks. So let's say you go down there, you go to hell, and you take weeks to get out, and then you get out, and then there's a cop waiting there. here's your $1,000 fine.
So, all right, you come with me. But you don't understand. I made it to hell and back.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, whatever, college idiot.
At that point, I'd just let go and drop back
I don't
down.
have
stupid kid.
$1,000. I'm sorry. Well, you're going to jail now.
Yeah.
What if the cop giving the fines out is the devil? He's like, you got out, but ha ha.
That's the devil's joke the whole time.
Yep.
To lure people there just to make it to hell and back, and then give them $1,000 fine afterwards. It's like,
Take that. So that's hilarious. Although you mentioned that people reported headaches and blacking out, and this is in the middle of nowhere. So it's not like people have done any kind of testing, it sounds like. So what if we've just got an area that has some kind of like carbon monoxide poisoning of some sort, or some kind of, chemical in the
mill.
air that's, like causing people to hallucinate. And they're like, I went to hell, bro. And it's like, actually, you were high on chemicals.
Yeah, they're just laying down in the lawn in the cemetery. They made this whole trip. It took me weeks to climb up.
Weeks. It's been 2 minutes, bro. 2 minutes. Come on.
They're like, dude, I just watched you like crawl across the grass.
Yeah.
I have video. Here
I
it
watch
is.
you
Look.
take off all your clothes, and I watch you do jumping jacks in the middle of the cemetery.
Now, have we looked to see if people have actually, now that we're mentioning, camera and video, has anyone videoed going there to see if they've captured anything?
I don't see anything that supports that, but
I'm going to ask the YouTube.
Yeah, ask the YouTube.
Ask the YouTube. Okay.
Be careful how you work, because God only knows what you'll find.
Stoll
Cemetery.
Ooh, that's like, I put ST in an autofilled. YouTube knows me.
First thing that's on there, yeah.
Despite its dubious origins, the legend of Stoll Cemetery has been referenced numerous times in culture. The band Urge Overkill released Stoll in 1992, which featured the church and a tombstone from the cemetery on the cover. It has been argued that the British band The Cure canceled their show in Kansas because of Stoll Cemetery, although this, too, is false. Why put it? Why would you put this as false? Films whose plot is based on the legends include Turbulence 3 Heavy Metal, Nothing Left to Fear. Those are both good movies. And their unreleased film, Sin Jin Smith. The cemetery is also the site of the final confrontation between Lucifer and Michael in Swan Song, the season 5 finale of the television series Supernatural. In universe, Sam and Dean Winchester. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that.
This says that it was established by the Pennsylvania Dutch in 1856. And we all know where the Dutch are, Satan is. So,
I'm Pennsylvania Dutch.
well, that explains a lot then, Satan.
Could it be Satan? God. I mean, I have it's like 1% Pennsylvania Dutch.
That's 1% enough. 1% of Satan is still Satan, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I mean, I see a video of the cemetery. It looks beautiful. All these old tombstones and stuff. It looks amazing. I would go just to look at the cemetery, but I don't know if I'd brave walking down the church steps at 3 a.m.
Not for $1,000 fine, no, and up to 6 months in jail. Jeez, that's fucked up.
Now, are people going to the ruins of the original church? Is that where it is, or is there a new building that they're going to?
Looks like it's an abandoned church, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one, I think.
The church I'm seeing is missing a roof. So I'm
Right.
trying to figure out, are there ruins and then they rebuilt a church and the new church is the one that has hell, or is it the ruins that has hell? So many questions. I vote we just go. Who's up for a road trip?
It's a basement of the abandoned church. So a basement.
Okay.
I don't know.
Probably not the ruins then.
Probably not the ruins.
Yeah.
Maybe the ruins. I mean, there still could be a basement in it. Who knows? There was a fire. I'm looking it up. So it looks actually like a decent church, but it looks like the top of it.
Yeah, so that's going to be added to our list of places we need to go as a 3Haunted. Although, guys, I'm probably not going to go to the basement. I really don't want to go to hell. I do not want to climb for weeks.
So you're worried about hell.
It's good for your triceps, though.
But is it?
Sure. In those quads, right?
All right, who's got the next one?
I don't know. Maybe me.
He doesn't know.
Well, I wasn't even supposed to give one, and I gave one. Come on, John.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You got another one. You
All
got
right,
one, right?
so we're gonna leave Kansas and go to West Virginia,
It's probably
where
a good thing.
the white things, or they are also called white dogs or devil dogs, sheep
White
squatches.
things?
Ooh,
That's
I like
where they
that.
are. Yes, they date all the way back to the legends of Native Americans, and some have canine features, some feline, some are even humanoid, with long, shaggy white hair and large fangs. They scream blood-curdling screams and attack brutally and forcefully, tearing at the neck and skin. Sounds like a good Friday night. But leave no mark. They are omens of death, and they inhabit dark, isolated woods and cemeteries. Nobody knows what exactly they are. Are they spirits? Are they aliens? Are they tricks of the imagination? Who the fuck knows?
That's pretty much like the disclaimer on my life is, who the fuck knows?
Patients
Hey,
eating the pets of the people that live there.
Oh, here he goes again.
Venezuelans.
Oh, boy.
It's election year, folks.
I don't write the material. I just repeat it. That's all.
I'm not bad. I was just drawn that way.
All right, Jessica.
Wow.
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 All right. So, did you know in Guyana is the Baku? And the Baku is like a little bitty troll like leprechaun thing. And it is a spirit in the form of a mischievous little man. And he lives in a corked bottle. Though it's not inherently evil, the Baku is controlled by evil dwellers, and it requires a lot of milk and bananas to keep it happy. Very specific. And if you catch a Baku and you keep it well fed, the Baku will reward his owner with wealth and good tidings. But if he's undernourished, he will wreak havoc and attempt to harm whoever keeps him. So you just have to have a lot of milk and bananas. But if you have a lot of milk and bananas, I mean, your life is going to supposedly be very good.
It sounds like a nursery rhyme or a song off the
Where?
You know.
Where is this at? In
Guyana?
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 Yeah, that reminds me a lot because there's another one that's like that. They call them. I think they're called the brownies, but they're little.
Sounds like a brownie.
It's the same. It's the same thing, right? Like you
like
have to feed them.
leprechauns, yeah.
Except the brownies you don't have to trap in a bottle. This feels like a genie and a leprechaun and a brownie all had a love child.
Yes.
Because you have to keep the Baku in a bottle. And although a lot of people now believe the Baku is a myth, some people will still throw empty wine bottles with a cork into the river just in case a Baku is living in it, and then they'll try and capture it. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
I wonder why bananas.
You know, and I've seen videos and stuff on little tiny creatures, but a lot of I don't know. It's hard to tell what CGI is now and what's not. And people I feel like are making all kinds of stupid videos now just to be famous.
Yeah.
It's like this real life little tiny leprechaun caught on film.
Going viral.
Have we talked about on the show the Mothman at all?
Yeah.
We have? Yeah.
Bunch of times.
Yeah, I mean, have we come to a conclusion of maybe what we think that is?
An alien.
Definitely.
We think it's an alien.
I think it's an aliens.
Thinks it's an alien.
Thinks it's an alien.
Evil spirits.
Have you guys seen the movie, The Mothman Prophecy? Or
I've
what-
seen the Mothman.
Yeah, with wasn't it Richard Gere?
Yes.
Yeah. It was kind of creepy.
I liked it.
I did too.
I mean, who's to say some of these creatures in the urban legends aren't in fact some combination of like an alien type creature, and we're just seeing different species of aliens.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, there's a lot out in our world that we don't understand as humans, and so we interpret that. I mean, even now with all of our technology and our minds being a little bit more open or more closed, depending on who you are, I feel it's hard to interpret what we see sometimes, or that we can't determine what's real and what's not, and so we go, yeah, that was just my imagination.
Well, they play with that a lot in sci-fi shows, right? Like Star Trek and all the things. Like whenever they go to these quote unquote primitive cultures, and then these primitive cultures will be like, oh, it's a spirit, it's a you're a witch, you're a ghost, you're saying all these things, but really it's just future technology that they don't understand yet, right? I feel like you see that a lot in Star Trek in particular, right? I don't know. The Star Trek, I think it was Star Trek Beyond, wasn't a great movie, or maybe it was the second one. The newer Star Trek, the newer ones that they came out with, where they weren't supposed to show their ship, but then they showed their ship in order to save Spock or whatever. And so broke the rules. That was like one of the big cardinal rules. Like you can't.
Yeah, and it's like it's a more advanced civilization kind of, that's out there, but they wouldn't have known otherwise, right?
Right.
Could be similar. Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that made me think too, like when I was it's one of the recent Star Treks, right? One of the recent series makes you think like, hey, I wonder if there is like an entirely different, even Star Wars, like there's an entirely different universe out there, far, 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 far away, right? But it's going on and way more advanced than we are, and we have no idea that it's even there. Because we're Neanderthals at the time. So something to be considered, I think, that we're not the most advanced civilization out in the universe.
One of our guests had said that, where do you think all of these things come from? Like the creatures that people do or write for movies. It's like they actually do exist somewhere.
I mean, you look at Jules Verne.
So, yeah.
Look at Jules Verne. Jules Verne wrote about a lot of the stuff that is now factual today. A lot of the science and technology that was just that. It was just that. It was science fiction when he was writing about it, and now all of it exists for the most part. Thousand Leagues Under the Sea.
You have to think about it too. Like a lot of these legends that have similarities, for example, we were just talking about the brownies and the leprechauns and the Baku. These are all from super old lore, back when people didn't have the internet for this idea to be shared to that place and this other place. Like it's all coming from separate places with different names, but they're all kind of talking about similar things. And we recently talked about in cryptids. What was the one? I can't remember who brought it up, but it was like the mermaid like thing or the siren like thing up in Europe. The
Oh
the where you
yeah.
had to, she sheds her skin and you capture her. So even I came across in the Caribbean, they have a creature called the Sukuyan, and it's a female, and she shapeshifts, but same thing, she sheds her skin and she turns into this creature. Theirs are a little darker though. The ones we had talked about in the cryptids episode was more like a pleasant creature, but the Sukuyan, when they shed their skin, they turn into like a vampire, something like a vampire, and
Ooh.
they suck the blood of their victims. And supposedly you can stop them by throwing rice. So there you go, throwing things at these spirits again, throwing rice, sand, or salt, because they're compelled to count the individual grains. Now that sounds like another creature though
Yeah.
that has come up in other lore where they have to stop and count what's in front of them. And so kind of interesting. Once again, we're seeing this obsessive behavior where it's
Well,
like,
you said the Duppies, right? The Duppies have to do that, right?
yeah, and there
Yeah.
was, I feel like, I can't remember what it was called, but we've heard about another creature, different part of the world, where same thing, if you throw something in front of it, it has to stop and count
It's
each
my
item.
son's.
Rice,
But they
my only
also,
weakness.
now, the one thing I do like is that at least in the Caribbean, they have the Sukuyan, the female version, but they also have the male version of that. So it's almost like an incubus and a succubus. And so they have what's called the Lagahu. I hope I'm saying this right. The Lagahu, it sounds like they're
Lagaho.
specific more to Trinidad and Tobago's, but the Lagahu are the male version, and they also are like this vampire creature that sucks the blood of its victims. Although it doesn't sound like they shed their skin the way the female iteration does, but interesting, right? And they said that the Lagahu were brought to the Caribbean by the French settlers, like the legends, but
It's French.
you don't hear about the Sukuyan. And so it's like, where'd that come from? Both vampire creatures sucking the blood of their victims, although the females sound way more scary. I love it.
I mean, what's funny is it's probably just a common vampire bat. And they're like, it's a succubus. Sucking the blood.
The sucking the blood of the people that live there.
Although the Lagahu sounds a lot like Dracula lore, because they said the Lagahu can take on the form of a large dog as well. And
Oh.
yeah, that sounds very Dracula-like.
So maybe Dracula back in the day got on his ship
Came on
and
in.
took a little trip to the Caribbean.
I mean, as one does.
Yeah.
So I love another big theme with all of these is shapeshifters, right? Shapeshifters are
Mhm.
such a big thing everywhere in the world. And they're
Skinwalkers,
called
anybody?
Yeah, it's just it's
Yeah.
called something different in different places, right? It's just with a little bit of a different background, but it's all ancient. It's all and it's still here. It's not something that has gone away. So what does that mean? Like, and I feel like we do have more records of shapeshifters now than we ever had before, right? There's video evidence of this stuff now. So I don't know. Do you think that they are similar, or is this just that there's just different species of shapeshifters coming from all over, from the gates of hell or wherever, or another dimension, if that's what it is instead?
Kansas.
Where the gates of hell are. I mean, that's appropriate.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things, in my personal opinion, like Bigfoot and the Yeti, that do not want to be seen because they inherently know if they are seen, that's the end of their existence because humans are savages. So, I mean, there's probably a lot out there that, when all the continents were, closer, much closer, they're probably diversified and went into their own little factions and culture and everything. They have their own little things. If we're talking as cryptids are real, then yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure a thing that there's little villages of little brownies in each different country, but they're called different things, and they have different habits and different ways of counting things, and some like rice, some like coins. So I think it's very, very real.
Oh my gosh, let's get weird and nerdy. So we know that back in the day, as man was evolving, there were different iterations, right? There was like Australopithecus, there was Homo habilis, like all these different variations of a very similar species. So who's to say there wasn't like a vampiric type version of a human out there that was running alongside it, and it's just a line we haven't found or know of yet?
Shit.
Oh, fuck. Let's get sci-fi here. I mean, there are different forms, right? And some have just continued on and others have
Well,
died off
Bigfoot.
or merged. Yeah, Bigfoot might be one.
vampires. Yeah, so a lot of the cryptids all came from somewhere.
Yeah.
The
So
generation.
perhaps.
So what are the right what is the right location and circumstances for a vampire to emerge? So what is being scientific, like where do you find the places with the most abundance of blood, the darkest places in the world, because they're affected by sunlight, right? So you'd have to think about these places like in Alaska, right? 30 Days of Night, one of the greatest movies, I think, vampire movies ever. But do they develop there and then move around over the years, so things change?
Well, if we're being scientific about it, I mean, they all came from Africa. No, I'm serious. During the Great Rift,
I know.
they all came from Africa. If we're being scientific.
We're being
and then they moved throughout. So they might have migrated. And maybe Africa was too hot and not enough food sustenance, and so they had to move upwards, which then let humans evolve into what they are now. So they kind of left us alone and then moved throughout the north and other areas, and maybe they went up to the colder areas. Maybe they're in Antarctica.
But we do hear about these creatures all over the world. So it sounds like they're not settling in just one spot, or they've
Yeah.
dispersed like humans have in different spots. But you know what? They have talked about how the different pre-modern human species merged together. So they're finding fossils of, Australopithecus having, mated with Homo habilis and stuff like that. So we hear about people nowadays with gifts, right? And we've heard of like energy vampires. And so what if our little vampire sibling sometimes does merge with our non-vampiric, I guess, form? And that's where we start to see these different gifts, right? Like that's why we see certain people are a little bit more sensitive or are capable of doing things that others aren't. Because we're always asking why, right? Like, well, why can this person do this, but that person can't? Perhaps we've got these other species or variations, we'll call them variants of humans that are out there that are kind of commingling here and there. And that's why we're able to get some of these lines. Some people think it's because aliens, but what if it's because other human variant?
They're all daywalkers. They're all Blade.
Maybe.
Or what if we're all just genetic variants that were created in a alien lab?
And some suck blood.
Some suck blood.
Up you down. Sure, why not?
Some things, sometimes you just suck.
They're like, whoa, what if we made this variant like a mosquito and see what happens?
But bigger with teeth.
But bigger with teeth. And what if the reason they aren't out during the daylight that we know of, or one of the variations is not in daylight, which is why we see it in the pop culture lore, is not because the sun hurts them, but because maybe they've got an extra sense like bats, where they don't need to be out in the daylight, and it actually would kind of fuck with them if they were out in the daylight.
I think it's because they sparkle and then people will know what they are.
No, they're not.
Fuck you.
Nope.
That's not a
Those
vampire.
are vampires. Maybe they just hate people, and that's why they just suck their blood.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of cryptids and stuff hate humans, but the vampires, if they do exist, could very well look like us. And if they can walk in the daytime, you'll never know they exist until they snack, and maybe they don't even live.
Snack.
Maybe they don't even live off of human blood.
I love
maybe
that until they snack.
until they snack, and then you know they exist. I mean, they could be working at your Starbucks. You would never know. And if they have a long line of vampiric lineage, then it's a fact of life would be, listen, you can never show what you are. And I mean, that's how would you treat your kids? How would you tell them that you guys are vampires? You cannot show, yes, we're in stories. We get a bad rap. If someone finds out what you are, then.
Okay, guys, I admit it. I am not a
See, I knew it.
vampire.
I
He said I knew it.
I knew it.
Okay, I am. No, I'm more of like a succubus. Okay, so then how do we feel about werewolves? Would they be a variant of human, or would they be a variant of canine? Or is it like aliens said, human canine, let's see what happens?
I think, I think a lot of things they were just fucking around.
They're just fucking around, see what
Just
they can
fucking
hybrid
around.
out. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what humans are doing with cloning, right? Like, we're all, I wonder what we could mix.
We're just spitballing here.
We're almost there. We can make vampires, right? Can't we do that? Or can't we make werewolves at this point? Can't we do that? Isn't that
I'm
a thing?
part werewolf. I'm hairy enough, so fuck it.
Yeah, just to inject John with something.
With something.
I don't know if I'd rather be a werewolf or a vampire, to be honest. Honestly, I want to be a gargoyle. That's what I want to be.
What, you want to perch on a building?
I want to fly.
Yeah, why not?
But also look like a werewolf, kind of.
I want to be a vampire werewolf. How about that?
I like it
hybrid.
better.
Yeah.
What about you, Shane? What would you like to be? If you had to be.
Yeah, no, if I had to be anything, I'd be a demon.
Ooh.
You already are. Okay, so like if you had to be something else.
A vampire.
Yeah.
But I would want to be able to bask in the sun, I would be able to go and do and live and mingle with other people and until I snack.
I'm going to start using that. I need to snack.
Time to snack.
Need a snack.
Time to snack.
Snack.
Snack attack.
It's snacky time. So, do we think then, because we hear about all these different creatures that have different names but similar attributes in areas, that there's got to be something out there that is that? Maybe not, Bram Stoker's Dracula, but is there a creature out there that is potentially actually all the things being described?
Yeah, I think so. I think urban legends find a root in some sort of reality.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I read just recently about, again, bringing it back to Kansas, about the Hamburger Man. It's this creature that that'll turn you into,
A hamburger.
and then eat you. So maybe that's a vampire.
Or a cannibal.
Or a cannibal.
Probably chops you up, grinds you up.
Maybe that's what cannibals are. They're vampires that have been caught.
Ah.
Yeah, but vampires really didn't eat solid food, though. They just did blood, right?
So maybe werewolves that have been caught?
Maybe. But I think cannibals in itself, they're a whole different monster by itself.
Crazy cannibals.
Crazy cannibals.
It's also called the at CU Boulder, right? The Alfred Packard Grill. So it's the place where you get food and lunch is named after a cannibal at CU Boulder campus, which is weird.
That would explain a lot.
It's weird, right? It's like, why would you name your university lunch area after a cannibal?
Probably to counterbalance all the damn vegans there.
There's a lot.
All right, fellows, any final thoughts as we bring this beautiful, lovely episode and 16th anniversary to a close.
16th. 16th?
I want to get you to 20.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow. I know. You like the longest running guest on our show.
Wow.
Yep.
I feel honored. As an old
Yes.
Wilson would say, wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, Shane, because you have been such an amazing and prominent guest on our podcast, if you've ever, which I'm sure maybe you haven't, taken a look at our website, you are actually on our website. Not as a guest, but on our About Us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will take a look at that. That's awesome. I will. I need to do a better job, to be honest, of promoting this podcast since I am on it
Yeah, fucker.
16 times.
It's 50, 60, he's losing count.
Hey,
I might as well be just a official
co-host.
part of the squad.
Yeah, Shane's like he's like what is that, a third of the show?
Pretty much. Like he's almost the whole season on his own.
Season of Shane.
This podcast is awesome. I think it's not a whole lot of them out there, a whole lot of these kind of podcasts out there. And there's a decent amount, but not with the collection of, I don't know, fine young men and women as on this podcast.
You mean naughty and obscene?
Perverted. Yeah.
Perverted.
All the things.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you, Shane, for coming on. All right, John Thomas, do you want to bring us home?
Absolutely. Thank you, Shane, for coming on. As always, it's a blast having you on.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations on 16 episodes.
Woo-woo.
Woo! Thank you to all of our listeners for listening to this episode of 3Haunted Podcast with your host. I'm John Thomas.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
And I'm BJ Segura.
If you have any questions, comments, or episode suggestions, please feel free to email us at 300podcast at 300podcast, yes, at gmail.com. And if you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media. You don't want to miss Shane's next appearance.
Also, don't forget to check out 300podcast.com, where you'll find all of our past and current season episodes, as well as guest information and all kinds of awesome merch.
Until next time.